name is Curtis Upton, and my title is Chef and owner of Liberty Street Lunch here in beautiful downtown Warren.
What inspired you to become a chef?
Basically, inspirations, I would have to say family was probably the biggest one. My great-grandmother, Pearl Fleming, was a master in the kitchen. She was always in the kitchen cooking something, or, always ahead of the game and trying to do something, to be ready for the next meal. So probably the biggest influence was her. And then secondly, I would say my home economics teacher, Josie Girardi. She had a student come to the class that was a chef, and talked about what they did at school, and kind of talked to the whole class, kind of like we're doing today. You know what I mean? And I was just really inspired by the fact that they made money playing with food. So.
What's one of your favorite recipes to make?
That's always a tough question. Favorite recipe would be really tough. Favorite style of food to cook is definitely Asian style of food. I love to do ramen, stir fries, that kind of stuff has always been super popular. If I had to pick a dish out of there, I would probably say just simple like lo mein noodles.
How do you come up with recipes?
Multiple different ways. Definitely influenced by friends, peers, family, what they're doing, what they're eating, and the weather is the biggest thing for me in my business is a huge thing, because if it's hot outside, you don't want to have a really heavy dish. If it's cold outside, you might want to go a little bit heavier with the calories type of thing.
How many customers do you usually get in a week?
In a week, so that's a good question. So a lot of places they'll base a night or a service by the amount of dinners or covers they had done. But since I opened this place, we kind of really don't focus on that, because I feel like sometimes it can make you feel down if you had a little bit less than normal. And then we try to keep everything on the up and up. So we don't really count them every day, but on a weekly basis, I would say, we're probably doing somewhere around 250 people to 300 a week on average, and on a really good week, maybe 500.
Do you have a lot of employees working?
Currently, we just have one full-time employee, myself as a full-time employee, and then we have a part-time employee who comes in and helps us run the front. So just myself and one other full-time that are 40-plus hours a week, and the other part-time would be 20 hours or less. So 3 of us, pretty much.
Do you cook 7 days a week?
Yes. Pretty much my girlfriend and I split up the responsibilities at home, so when I'm done at work, if it's my night to cook, I'm there cooking. But once again, I love it, and it's a way to do something different. I'm obviously not cooking the same thing at home that I'm making at work, so I get to try different things, or maybe even use something different that I never have tried, or taste something different.
What's your favorite thing to eat?
Pizza. I think you can find pizza everywhere, and you can find some really good pizza, especially in this area. So, probably my favorite thing to eat, just because it's a comfort food,
How do you feel about a well-done steak with ketchup?
Funny question. A lot of chefs or cooks would probably not like to see that come into a kitchen, only because they feel that's possibly ruining the steak, by cooking it to a well-done temperature. But I myself, it's all about the customer. What they want is what they get. So if you come in, you want a well-done steak with ketchup, I'm going to cook you a well-done steak with ketchup, and it's going to be the best well-done steak you ever had. So to me, it's a, I might have thought differently 10 years ago. But my mindset has changed over the years.
What is your favorite food to cook at home?
Favorite food to cook at home? Probably breakfast. It's a good, easy one, cheap one to make, and you can make a lot of it for a good amount of people. Being a father of 4 kids, we always have somebody at the house, so I need to be able to feed a bunch of people, pretty quickly. So probably breakfast food.
Yeah.
So again, and you make up the pancake mix, dip the bacon in the mix, and then cook it like a pancake, so it's inside of it. Or you do the same with sausage. That's really good. So probably pancakes, but you got to make them from scratch. They're great from a box, but they're even better from scratch. And you get to put syrup on it.
Yeah.
What's better than maple syrup?
Did you cook at any other places?
Yes. Over the years, I've definitely been at multiple different places. Basically, like I said earlier, I had started at a young age, 12 or 13, doing dishes at a small place in Youngsville. And then I moved from there to the Rouse Suites, and then I went to culinary school. From culinary school, I went out to Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, and I worked there for approximately 6 years. The cool thing about that place and going there directly after college was there was like 50-some restaurants in the place, and I had the ability to pick and choose which one I wanted to work in after my extern. And then I chose one of the fine dining Italian places where I worked for 5 years and really immersed myself in Italian food and cooking. From there, I kind of moved up and down the East Coast, multiple different establishments, trying to really focus on seafood and fresh seafood since that's what's available on the East Coast, and it's really popular, to sell those types of dishes. And then being born and raised in this area, after about 11 years away, I decided to come back, and be with my family and raise my family here in Warren County. In Warren County, I've worked at a couple other different places, being Eagles Club, the Forester Restaurant, Cafferland's Pittsfield Inn, the Deerhead Inn, and Fork and Barrel Court.
What brought you to Warren?
Actually, I had been doing a bunch of side work for Hog Wild Barbecue, and he's located in Warren, so I just kind of came to this area, and I really liked, this is where the population is, so as a chef, this is where I need to be. So.
Was cooking your childhood dream?
Oh, no. Actually, photography was probably my childhood dream, or possibly a musician. But at the time, without social media and these things that we have now, I didn't see that I could really make a living being a photographer or a musician, because you really had to be like stand out. And really, like I did with the culinary arts, you really had to immerse yourself in it. And a lot of it was, in the 90s was who you knew. So I didn't know anybody in the industry, so I didn't think I had much of a chance.
Do you think it is important to love what you do at work as well as to have fun?
Yes. I mean, if at all possible, people always say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. That's somewhat true, but also very untrue, because I love what I do and I work really hard at it every day. And loving what I do isn't just cooking some food or cooking a steak or a sandwich. It's cleaning the whole place after you close up, sanitizing everything, doing dishes. As a chef, you're kind of a jack of all trades, so you wear a lot of hats, especially as a head chef or owner of a restaurant. So you're also a maintenance guy, a plumber, an electrician. So there's constant worries and stuff like that, So we work really hard, and I would like to think that anybody who really loves what they do also works really hard at it. And it wasn't something that I loved off the bat. I never loved to, I didn't just cook something and say, oh, I love this, I'm going to do this. When I was a kid, there wasn't really any TV celebrity chefs. There was no Food Network. There was none of that stuff. So didn't have any of that kind of glamorous stuff to look up to, really. So, it's just something that I kind of fell in love with over the years of working really hard at it. My family really struck into me work ethics at a young age, and I love to work, and I love to work hard at whatever I do. If I'm cooking or cutting trees down or whatever I'm doing, I've had multiple different jobs throughout the years to help, pay the bills, and I've always worked really hard. That's something that I try to do. The work ethic is, in the culinary industry, someone who has this type of work ethic is just a real asset to anybody that can be around, or any business they can be a part of.
What's your opinion on the little poofy chef hats? I bet you never wore one, or have you?
Yes. All through culinary school, we had to wear, we call it the mushroom hat. They weren't really that bad. You kind of get used to it, over time. The ones that are really annoying are the tall paper hats. Is as soon as you start to sweat, it's paper, so it falls through. And basically, a lot of these places that wear these hats, they're really fine dining. And the reason they wear those hats is to show that the chefs are clean. If the chef is sweating, and the hat is melting on him, he's gonna have to keep changing it, So the couple times I have had to wear those, it wasn't too bad because I'm not much of a sweater, so. You pretty much work every night, holiday and weekend. You don't have a lot of family time or free time to yourself. A lot of days you wouldn't be closing the restaurant until possibly 11 or 12 at night, and you would be back in the morning at 9, you know what I mean? So it doesn't give you much time to sleep, let alone really have much of a life. So you do sacrifice a lot of it at the beginning, but once you build that base of knowledge and technique, then is when you can really be creative and, wow people with what you're doing.